Sweet Home, Alabama. From the bustling streets of Birmingham to the breathtakingly beautiful Gulf Coast, tourists can experience the wonders of the outdoors, the thrill of college football, and a land brimming with Southern hospitality. But before you set out to visit, there are a few local legal quirks that you might want to know about. Whether you're driving through Huntsville, Mobile, Montgomery, or the peanut capital of Dothan, Alabama's bylaws, even the most bizarre, apply to you. To get some perspective, we'll start in the year 1819, when Alabama first became a state. The original Alabama Constitution, for all its many flaws, did have a few remarkably forward-thinking ideas, specifically Section 3, which granted the Alabama General Assembly power to pass laws suppressing, as they called it, the evil practice of dueling, going so far as to disqualify participants from ever holding public office. The trouble, however, was that duels were quite popular in the early 1800s as a way of settling certain disputes, and so despite the Constitution's original efforts to put an end to the practice, most citizens of Alabama chose to simply ignore the imposed ban. In fact, in 1827, Henry S. Foote, a future U.S. governor, engaged in a duel in Alabama with a man named Edmund Winston to settle a family feud. Slowly but surely, as dueling began to fall out of favor in the South, the prohibitions against it started to be honored, even being carried over and reaffirmed in the Alabama Constitution of 1901. And as duels were outlawed across the country, the need for specific provisions and regulations eventually went away. Today, the only remaining mention of the practice in Alabama's state law is a provision in Section 31-2A-114 concerning military affairs and civil defense. Any person subject to this code who fights or promotes or is concerned in or connives at fighting a duel, or who, having knowledge of a challenge sent or about to be sent, fails to report the fact promptly to the proper authority, shall be punished as a court-martial may direct. While we're in this sort of area, you also can't duel a bear. Alabama Code Section 13A-12-5, a person commits the offense of unlawful bear exploitation if he or she knowingly promotes, engages in, or is employed at a bear wrestling match, receives money for the admission of another person to a place kept for bear wrestling, sells, purchases, possesses, or trains a bear for bear wrestling, or for purposes of exploitation subjects a bear to surgical alteration. Unlawful bear exploitation is a Class B felony and is punishable as provided by law. If you choose to ignore this law and proceed to duel or wrestle a bear, the authorities have the power to seize and take custody of your bear, and you must make restitution to the state. Alabama does not tolerate cruelty to bears or alligators. Section 9-12-211, no person shall take or possess the eggs of alligators, or their parts or skins in any county of this state. Violation of said section is a Class C felony. But that's not all. Section 9-11-269 protects the flattened musk turtle, a reptile unique to the state of Alabama. It is unlawful for any individual, corporation, partnership, trust, association, or any other entity to hunt, wound, injure, kill, trap, collect, or capture a flattened musk turtle. Any individual, corporation, partnership, trust, association, or other entity who violates the provisions of this section shall, upon conviction, be fined not more than $5,000 or imprisoned for not more than 1 year. Or both. Section 18-3, while you are in a park, no person shall hunt, molest, harm, frighten, kill, trap, chase, tease, shoot, or throw missiles at any animal, reptile, or bird, nor shall he remove or have in his possession the young of any wild animal, or the eggs or nest or young of any reptile or bird. However, snakes known to be deadly poisonous, such as rattlesnakes, moccasins, coral snakes, or other deadly deadly reptiles are excepted from this provision and may be killed on sight. Alabama Administration Code Section 220-2-11 prohibits hunters from shooting animals while hanging out of a plane or helicopter, unless the engines are shut off. Subsection 8.6 from the same provision prohibits hunters from releasing feral pigs back out into the wild, and Section 13A-11-241 makes it illegal to sell or purchase the fur of domestic dogs and cats. Just don't do weird things with animals. Section 13A-11-270 covers the vital threat of airbag fraud. A person commits the offense of airbag fraud if the person knowingly and intentionally manufactures, imports, sells, offers for sale, installs, or reinstalls a counterfeit airbag, a non-functional airbag, or any other device to replace an airbag that the person knew was not designed in accordance with all the applicable federal safety standards for the make, model, and year of the motor vehicle, installs a used airbag in a motor vehicle and fails to disclose to the owner that a used airbag was installed, sells any device or installs or reinstalls in any vehicle any device that causes the vehicle's diagnostic system to inaccurately indicate that the vehicle is equipped with a functional airbag when a counterfeit airbag, non-functional airbag, or no airbag is installed, installs or requests another to install a counterfeit airbag or non-functional airbag, and sells or offers to sell the vehicle to another person with the intent to deceive the purchaser about the existence of the counterfeit airbag or non-functional airbag in the vehicle. Airbag fraud is a Class A misdemeanor. If the fraud contributes to a person's serious physical injury or death, airbag fraud is a Class C felony. This is a good law. This next one, however, feels like a bit of a stretch. The Alabama Board of Education voted in 1993 to prohibit school personnel from teaching yoga, or any techniques that involve the induction of hypnotic states, guided imagery, or meditation. There was great concern from certain groups that yoga would act as a gateway to the practice of Hinduism. We certainly can't have religious ideas being taught in school, can we? This ban on yoga was eventually overturned in 2021, but with the following stipulations as outlined in Section 16-40-11, instruction in yoga shall be an elective. Parents have to sign this handy waiver. All students have the option to opt out in favor of alternative activities. Specific schools can elect not to teach it. All instruction in yoga is limited exclusively to the physical stuff like poses, exercises, and stretching techniques, all of which must be done exclusively in English. Things like chanting, mantras, induction of hypnotic states, guided imagery, and saying namaste are expressly prohibited, and subsection 7 explicitly reiterates school personnel may not use any techniques that involve hypnosis, the induction of dissociative mental state, guided imagery, meditation, or any aspect of Eastern philosophy and religious training in which meditation and contemplation are joined with physical exercises to facilitate the development of mind, body, spirit. Okay. In 1959, Mobile, Alabama banned high-heeled shoes in the city unless the wearer got a permit to wear them by signing a liability waiver. That law eventually went away, but today in Mobile we have this little gem, Section 39-76, no person shall spit or throw fruit skins, parings, or peelings upon any sidewalk in the city or upon the floor of any bus operated within the city or in any public elevator, public building, public theater, or public hall, or upon any walkway in any public park in the city. It's not just fruit skins, spray, string, snap pops, and other similar matter are prohibited too. Section 39-15 makes it illegal for any person to keep, store, use, manufacture, sell, offer for sale, give away, or handle any such objects. 39-81 outlaws the use of of stink or funk balls or any other objects which purpose is to create disagreeable odors to the great discomfort of persons. Section 39-82 prohibits washing in or tampering with any Mobile, Alabama city fountains. 39-77 prohibits the use or possession of confetti or glitter. 39-78 prohibits the abandonment of refrigerators and ice boxes. Section 12-13, no one shall destroy, break down, mutilate, or deface any tomb, grave, monument, fence, or curb erected in any cemetery, or pluck any flower, or injure any tree or shrub growing therein, or in any way violate or profane any cemetery. They don't put up with a lot of nonsense in Mobile, Alabama. As for Huntsville, which as of 2021 became Alabama's biggest city, they are very concerned about the issue of urban sprawl. Section 23-163 of their city code is a 7-paragraph guide designed to clearly map the different dividing lines for the city's neighborhoods. I'll spare you the specifics for a different video. In the city of Tuscaloosa, you may own up to 3 pet dogs and 3 pet cats per household. Section 13A-8-61 of the Alabama state law prohibits the removal of shopping carts from businesses without the express consent of the owner. The Alabama Supreme Court has also definitively ruled that electronic bingo machines are, you guessed it, totally illegal. Every person riding an animal or driving any animal-drawn vehicle upon a roadway shall be granted all of the rights and shall be subject to all of the duties applicable to the driver of an automobile, except all those provisions of law which by their very nature can have no application. And if you're looking to spice up your winter work commute, no person shall operate a snowmobile on any controlled access highway or any other highway except when crossing the highway at a right angle when use of the highway by other motor vehicles is impossible because of snow, or when such operation is authorized by the authority having jurisdiction over the highway. Until April 21st, 2015, it was illegal for any person, form, association, or corporation to promote, advertise, or conduct any marathons for a period of more than 8 consecutive hours, whether or not an admission was charged or a prize awarded, and it was also unlawful for any person to participate in more than one such contest within any period of 48 hours. If you violated this rule, you were found guilty of a misdemeanor and were punishable by imprisonment in the county jail for not less than 30 days nor more than 90 days, or by a fine of not less than $50 nor more than $500, or by both such fine and imprisonment in the discretion of the court. Hey, I got a question. Who's the person who comes up with all these numbers? Like, Alabama Code Section 13A-14-4 makes it illegal to impersonate a priest. Doing so makes you guilty of a misdemeanor, and upon convictions, you are punished by a fine not exceeding $500 or confinement in the county jail for not more than 1 year, or by both such fine and imprisonment. How did they calculate that the clergy thing is worth a year in the slammer, but the walkathon, that's just worth 3 months? But they're both equivalent enough for a $500 fine? Who is making up these numbers? In the town of Florence, Alabama, Section 4-105, registration of pet animals is required and subject to a fee. Pet owners under the age of 65 have to pay either $10 or $35, depending on whether the animal has been neutered, but if you're over 65, you get to pay less. Section 3-9 states that alcoholic beverages may be legally sold 24 hours per day, Monday through Saturday, and on Sundays, except between the hours of 2 a.m. and 9 a.m. According to state law section 32-26, state troopers and other law enforcement officers get to keep their badge, gun, and other equipment as part of their retirement package. It's also illegal, according to section 13A-14-1, for a person to maim oneself for the purpose purpose of escaping legal duty or to generate sympathy for charitable relief. Let's head over to Montgomery, Alabama, where Chapter 5, Article 3 of the City Code, Section 5-71, Subsection B, Subsection A, Point 2, indicates that the town has adopted Subsection 106.6.2 of the 2018 International Plumbing Code. Therefore, all installations of electric water heaters incur a $5 fee on top of a $25 base fee for requesting a work permit. Also, if you're planning on moving there to start a fortune-telling business, get ready to pay up. Section 6-31 lists the following requirements that must be met in order to obtain a license for the practice of fortune-telling, psychic advising, palm reading, clairvoyance, and similar occupations. You must file an application with the city, submit your social security number as well as the social security numbers of any dependents living with you to the chief of police, be fingerprinted by the police department, submit a 2-inch by 2-inch photograph taken within 60 days prior to the date of filing an application, sign a release allowing the chief of police to perform a background check on your criminal history, of which you will pay the investigation fee of $10, then you pay a $500 license fee, and depending on how long you're going to be in business, a $125 fee on top of that. But then again, if you're a psychic, you probably already knew all that. If you're a celebrity or famous person trying to fly under the radar in Montgomery, maybe pick a different town. Section 6-64 makes it a crime for a hotel or lodging house to book you under a fake name. Section 6-446 requires horse-drawn carriage companies to maintain a drug testing program for all their drivers. Over in Decatur, Alabama, they really hate unauthorized signage. Section 16-2 makes it illegal for a person to paint, print, tack, paste, stencil, or otherwise mark upon or in any manner place upon or affix to any buildings, fence, wall, tree or telephone, telegraph or electric light or power pole without the consent of the owner thereof, any word, letter, character, figure, sentence or device, or any sign, banner, or notice. Plus, they're really big on folks spending their Sundays at worship. Section 16-8, it shall be unlawful within the city and its police jurisdiction for any merchant or shopkeeper to keep an open store on Sunday, except between the hours of 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. However, they are cool with it as long as you're selling tires, batteries, accessories, oils, gasoline, and other items incidental to servicing motor vehicles, the sale of newspapers, the operation of news stands, automobile repair shops, florist shops, ice cream shops or parlors, lunch stands, restaurants, supermarkets, and department stores. Why are all those jobs specifically exempt? Because throughout the vast expanse of this great nation, from the rocky coasts of Maine to the sunny valleys of California, America offers a wide range of different laws, some of which make perfect sense, others not so much. But hey, don't get mad at me, I don't make the laws, I just read them. This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful website. Start the process with Squarespace Blueprint, their new guided design system. Answer simple questions about what you want your site to be, then choose from a slew of beautiful layout and styling options that you can customize however you want. If you've got an idea for a podcast, their Audio Blocks feature makes setting one up a total breeze, and if you've got stuff to sell, their online storefront takes the headache out of processing payments. Head to squarespace.com to start a free trial today. Then when you're ready to launch your site in full, head over to squarespace.com/Austin McConnell to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.